I'm Kathy Cavins-Tull, and I serve as your Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. And I'm just here today to tell you that I miss you and that I want to give you a little bit of encouragement as we sort of muddle through this together. I think encouragement for our students, maybe three things I would say, is this group of students, or this generation of students, I think are the most technologically connected students of any generation, and so use that to their advantage for sure, and I think that they are. It's fun to see, I'm still old and use Facebook, but it's fun to see groups of people who maybe haven't gotten together for a while getting together via Zoom, and so find ways like that to stay connected. The other thing is that I think we have to figure out how to, maybe on a daily basis, figure out what we're gaining from this experience versus what we're losing from the experience. And I think about things like, how have we worked together to make this work for our students? But for students, like, how are they finding new ways to communicate with their classmates and their teachers? What are they learning from this? And I think in time they're going to say, that thing that happened in your life, that event that was so dramatic in your upbringing, like the Depression was for our grandparents, that how did it change you? And I would say, try to figure out on a daily basis, how is it changing our relationships? How is it changing the skills that we've developed, and focus more on what we're gaining and not losing. And then the third thing that I realized maybe over the long weekend is that this process seems like a marathon to me. And at the beginning, there were a lot of people rallying because we had to do things totally different. And the learning curve was very steep, right? And now we're sort of in that middle section where we have to do a lot of running, and we may not yet see the end in sight, but there is an end, and we'll figure that out. And there are some glimmers of light, I think, at this point, that we need to hold on to the hope. This is a season of hope, so maybe those are words of encouragement, that we will see the end of this. April's a time when I'm never home at night. I'm at everybody's banquets, listening and cheering them on for all of the leadership and all of the accomplishments that these students have earned over the 4 years. And so to not be in that, I can only imagine what that feels like for seniors who have worked hard and have earned so much. And we are going to make it right, I think, in the summer when it's safer to do that. But know that there are a lot of us who are grieving that loss with you and want to remain connected with you and finish this experience out in a way that is memorable and really feeds their soul, because I think April is a time of such celebration and such joy, and we still want to hear their stories. We still want to celebrate with them. We're just going to have to delay that just a smidge. I'm not quite sure in all of the ways that it will impact TCU, but I think that we've learned that we can be a lot more flexible than we thought. It may help us expand our offerings to students and use our resources in different ways to engage students in learning. So that's a good thing. Our community is so connected. That's what makes us who we are. And so I hope in some ways this doesn't change that, but it makes us connected in different and new ways and helps us maybe expand our offerings or expand our creativity in how we deliver our courses to students, or parts of our courses, maybe not all of them. I think higher education is going to shift in big ways. I think before this was occurring, there was some talk about higher education needing to shift. I think higher education in general will be able to pivot in a way that is reaching people who maybe haven't had access to higher education, reaching them in new ways. I also think that higher education in this time of crisis has figured out what the most important parts of higher education are. And we have to figure out what it means to attend to those highest priorities, and that is the education of our students and the holistic education. And so higher ed, I think, is going to have to be able to figure out how to use limited resources because of this time of restricted budgets almost, that we have to figure out what's most important and then how do we fund those things. You know, when we started this, we were most concerned about students who were studying in China and Italy. And so we had students over studying in those countries that we needed to get back. And we worked really hard to get them back safely and to try to mitigate the circumstances of their semester abroad and the disappointment that came with having to return. But then shortly after that, it started to really affect what was happening on our campus. And when you think about 10 or 11,000 students on our campus, and you think about students who are away on spring break, and the decision is made during spring break to move to an online presence, so the change in their plans, and but students who can't go home because their borders are closed, or students who don't have a home to go to, or the barrier of not having security in things like a home, food, attending to the needs of those students. So I think the leadership challenges have really come in very individual forms, and trying to read the needs of our students and then have a response that is within our resources. I think that our leadership at the university is focused on our core values. And so first, it is the health and safety of our students, for sure, all the way, students, faculty, and staff. And that is certain. And then the second thing is, how do we help students finish the semester so that they're not losing their credits for this term? And now we set our sights on how do we help give the group of students, like our graduating students, an experience that they deserve. They've worked really hard for that. And so how do we focus our attention on sort of closing out this experience for students who are graduating? And now we're thinking about, how do we bring our students back to us? And what does that community look like? I have to say that being on this campus without students here is just the weirdest thing. And I just want the noise. I can sit in my office and I hear the noise and the rhythms of classes changing and people who are greeting each other in between or yelling across campus, or you hear the sound of a skateboard that comes through, or a ton of things, you know. Even the traffic on University Drive is so light. And so I'm just so looking forward to sort of the rhythm that we have in relation to our students, and just some of the happy noises that come from that. I want to say thanks for taking a few minutes to connect. You know, we're all going through this together, and we care about you and your experience, which is why we have lots and lots of resources online. Go to the TCU website for virtual resources, or call me. or email me at k.cavins@tcu.edu. I look forward to seeing you back in the fall, and for those seniors, I look forward to celebrating with you in August. Go Frogs!